Hello, do you have any idea how excited I am today? Because I have been drinking alcohol, drinking spirits, for the better part of like 2 decades now. And for that entire time, pretty much, I have been looking for a decently presented Spanish brandy. Because Spanish brandy has an interesting history. It's a super important part of like sherry production. But if you ask me, like, hey, is it any good? I would say I have no idea because I've never found an example that was actually, like, decently presented. It's all been bottled down to 40% and sugared all to hell. What I have here is a independent bottling of Spanish brandy coming from France. I snapped this up the second I saw it. There are a lot of problems with this. We will, or really questions, I guess, more so than problems. We'll get to that in a second. There is actually one big problem with this, which is the stupid wax on top. But it's that I hate all wax in general, but this is the particularly awful, sort of super hard and therefore really brittle kind. So even if you try to open it with the hot knife along the way, it's just gonna like make a whole bunch of dust and stuff. You're just better off knocking it into the counter somewhere. I really hope France one day just stops doing this. In fact, let me talk to France for a second. Allô, bonjour. À propos de cette cire, mince alors, tout le monde déteste cette cire. C'est inutile et gênant. Donc, assez de cire. D'accord? Okay? Merci. Hopefully some of that got through. Anyways, I'm really intrigued by this. I think it's very, very interesting, and God, I hate the wax. Anyways, so I will never find a sparring partner for this because I've never seen another well-presented brandy. So therefore, I have just broken out all the brandies samples that I have, which basically I have no sparring partner for. So we're going to do a long session. This table has never been more crowded than this. We're just going to pop through. All right. So we're going to do one round. Neat. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Not too much for these because these are pushing 40%. And then we'll go through a second time. I imagine this will take a while. And here we go. Starting off with a peach brandy from Colorado. This is CapRock 8-year. Aged in a Chardonnay cask. It is bottled at 40%, but also, hey, I love peaches, so let's see what this is about. I mean, yeah, I'm getting a lot of peach is what I'm getting, like really stewed peach. But there's also a fair amount of like some kind of appley thing, like caramel apple. Really like dipped apple on this. So very, very desserty apple. It smells very sweet. It smells very decadent. There's just some nice spice notes on this. There's a little, what is it, nutmeg? I mean, yeah, straight up nutmeg. I don't know why it took me that long to get that. Some white pepper. A little bit of like some kind of coffee thing. Some kind of like like an Americano. It smells like an Americano. So yeah, like stewed peaches with some caramel apple, some spices, and dump an Americano on it. That's kind of what this smells like. And you know what? I'm enjoying it. That being said, it's 40%, and usually with 40%, the nose is not where the troubles are. So let's see what happens on the palate. You know what? This is delicious. I could go on and on about how I wish it was bottled at higher strength, but as something to just grab and drink, this is actually very, 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 very pleasant. Yeah, let me get my complaints out of the way. The mouthfeel is a little bit thin. It's a little bit brittle. The finish falls off too quick. It just feels clipped. It feels a little thin. But the arrival in the mid palate, which for normal people, like if you're, actually this would be great at like holiday time. Break this out for the family, because trust me, no one else in your family is drinking like Chardonnay barrel aged peach brandy. Pour this for them. The arrival is so delicious that they're not gonna care how it finishes. Like it arrives, yeah, on like peach and Americano. That's kind of how this acts. I'm not going to dissect it a little bit more. There's some white pepper notes, a little bit of almost a cider apple now, a little bit of a bitter apple kind of component on the palate, as opposed to the desserty thing on the nose. Yeah, I actually like this a lot. Nice, kind of. We're starting well. I thought this would be the weaker side of the table, but yeah, this is a good start. Let's move on. I'm gonna add like 2 drops of this. Let's see if it develops at all. All right, moving on. Next up, we have 2 offerings from a distillery that doesn't exist anymore. Brandy Peak. Brandy Peak was a very cool, kind of a long-standing distillery in Oregon. They came not too long after Clear Creek, like maybe 10 years or so after Clear Creek. They were basically the second craft distillery in Oregon. And they closed shop maybe 6 or 7 years ago. But until then, they were making all kinds of cool brandies and stuff. And I have a brandy, a must brandy, and I have a Mar made of Pinot Noir. So we're going to start with the brandy first. This is single barrel number 905. 40.1% alcohol. I have no idea of the further details of this because their website doesn't exist anymore. But let's see what they got here. Ooh. Very rich, interesting. There's an intense, just kind of Welch's grape juice thing on this, but it's like the best Welch's grape juice I've ever smelled. Actually, you know what this smells like? This smells like a fantastic, really, really old Pinot de Chartres, like a red Pinot de Chartres. So like Southwest French old man dessert drink kind of thing. That's what this smells like. And there's a ton of spice on this. Cinnamon, a little bit of clove, allspice. Welch's, there's some nuts coming through now, like almond. Holy crap, this is a good nose. This is a terrific nose, actually. It's like spice-driven, nutty Welch's. And I know that doesn't sound that appealing, but this is terrific. And what's really exciting is it doesn't smell like Cognac. It doesn't smell like Armagnac. This doesn't smell like anything I've really encountered in the past. I mean, maybe there's a tiny nod to something like, Sacred Bond or something, but it's so much better than Sacred Bond. All right, on the palate. Try this one more time. It's very, very delicate. You can tell the proof, 40.1% is kind of holding it back. I don't know if they added water to this or if it's just like that's natural evaporation. I don't know what happened. But you pay attention to how this behaves. There's a lot of substance to this. So it's very, very, very spice cabinet driven. there's like a cinnamon bay leaf kind of thing. It's so delicate, but you pay attention, the texture is quite good. The finish hangs on longer than you think it is. You think it's kind of like disappears pretty quickly, but then you're like thinking back, oh no, wait, there it is. There it is. And it's just kind of hovering there. It's understated, but I do appreciate what this is doing. Yeah, it's a lot of cinnamon, mixed kind of Christmassy spices, herbs. There's some rosemary in this. Again, bay leaf as well. Touch sage. Not really a lot of grapiness. There's a little bit of like a golden raisin kind of thing happening on the palate, but it's really driven by the spices, the sense of wood. There's some chopped up old furniture in here. Little basil on the back end. This is nice. If you can find this at a reasonable price, and I imagine some of these bottles are still out there, this is probably worth a grab. This is another one for like the holidays, for your family doesn't really usually drink spirits. Because this is actually very, or really just something to have around to start off a flight when you don't want to start with huge honkin' 60% monsters. This is a great one to have lying around. I'm gonna add some water to this as well. We'll come back to it. And let those 2 drops. All right, moving on to Brandy Peak's Mar of Pinot Noir. This is bottled a little bit stronger, 41.6%. Again, I have no idea how old this is because their website doesn't exist. But Mar, pomace brandy, one of my favorite categories. Actually, quieter on the nose than the standard brandy was, which is unusual for Mar. Usually, Mar is very, very big and shouty. This is not. It smells a little bit like dry erase markers. Oh, okay. There's some kind of some, not fig, date. There's some date creeping through. Some like sun-kissed raisins, maybe. Yeah, this is a hard one to tease out. I wonder if water will kick this open. It's pretty quiet right now. More dry erase markers. A little bit of like some kind of tea leaf, like a pu'er tea leaf. That's about it, really. Okay, let's see what happens on the palate. Similar kind of story. It's very quiet. It's very refined, which again is not usually what I expect from pomace brandy in general and Mar in particular. This is from Oregon, so it's not French Mar, but it's stuff that says Mar on it. Kind of got a theme going here. This is another one you could pour for like normal people, and they would not be scared away. I mean, it's got its own kind of thing going on. It's like, imagine, marinating sun-kissed raisins and maybe some figs and prunes in tea for a little while. Not pu'er. This is more like, just like, I don't know, Assam tea, something like that. English breakfast tea. Imagine marinating them and then popping one in your mouth. That's kind of what this tastes like. There's a little bit of a dusty thing going on too. There's a sense of age on this, but I don't think there's not a sense of barrel influence. I mean, it's got a kind of musty thing and some hints of tertiary oxidative stuff. It's hard to nail down. There's a little bit of like a nutty, almost sherry curry thing happening. Almost a little bit of a Vengeance thing happening, but it's really hard to nail down. So yeah, I wouldn't, if this was like 10, 12 years in a less active cask, I wouldn't be surprised. Or, I have no idea. Again, no website. I have no information on this. I'm curious to see if this opens up, but I don't think it will. I was kind of enjoying the regular brandy more, which is which again is unusual for me. Normally, I go for weird stuff like pomace brandy, but this is a very, very clean example. Let's add like 3 drops to that. We'll come back. And now for the second pomace brandy lineup, and this one is from Georgia. This is a Chacha, which is the Georgian term for pomace brandy. I think this is actually Saperavi based. Saperavi, one of the big Georgian varietals. Georgian wine is absolutely worth your time and consideration. It is very, very nerdy. They do some really cool old school stuff over there. This is Pheasant's Tears. It is aged for 2 years in oak, 24 months, and bottled at 48%, which is nice. Let's see what we got on the nose here. Immediately much more talkative than the Brandy Peak one was. Just an intense line of something lemony, but it's not. It's like lemon bars with a little bit of key lime thrown in there. Yeah, let's go with that. And a little bit of like lemon floor clean. So it's different layers of like lemony, citrusy stuff. Lemon bars, little key lime, and like lemony floor cleaner. But nice. A little hint of a vanilla pod in there. Tobacco notes, which is pretty typical in Mar or pomace brandy. What kind of pipe tobacco is that? It's something. It's like a mix of some very citrusy, yellowy ones, like maybe you're blending some Orientals with some Carolina bright leaf. It's that kind of thing. And some orange juice. Some big old cup of Tropicana orange juice. Or no, Sunny Delight. There we go. Slightly chemically, but nice. Okay. Interesting. Here we go, on the palate. Yeah. Georgia apparently has a tradition where if you're just kind of wandering around, people will invite you inside to try their pomace brandy. I think Georgia would be my kind of place if I ever went. Okay, this is cool. So there is a sense of sweetness to this. I don't think this is actually sweetened, but there is a sense of sweetness on the mid palate and the finish of this, which is actually quite delicious. Now, coming into that, it is quite weird though. What are you getting? Yeah, lemon bars again, key lime again, Sunny Delight. It's a lot of the same stuff from the nose. That sense of, it's not floor cleaner this time. It's more like lemony laundry detergent, but nice. It's quite floral as well. My entire mouth is filled with flowers. Some kind of aromatic tea leaves, like herbal teas happening more so than tobacco. I mean, it's just like, this is very good, very classic pomace brandy. Yeah. Real stuff. I like this. Good mouth presence. I mean, it's just like this is 48%, right? So it's just a bigger spirit than these previous three. Good mouth presence, long finish, and a detailed finish. Like there's different kinds of things going on. It's got that kind of lemon bar sweetness thing, but also the floral thing. A little bit of herbaceousness, a little bit of a menthol kind of effect. Let's give this some water and we'll come back to it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'll just give it a full squirt. I mean, this is 48%, right? A squirt and a half. All right, moving on. You'll notice I brought a much larger glass of water than normal today. You can tell the reason. Argay. This is, I did an Argay tasting like a year and a half ago, something like that. This is Armenian brandies, fruit brandies. Somehow I forgot about this one. This is their Mulberry, 3 years old, 50%. And considering how much I tried I love the, whatever the name for the unaged Armenian brandies were, the Mulberry, that I absolutely loved. So I'm very angry at myself for not trying this aged one earlier. And here we go. That is interesting. Oh, where do we start with this? Okay, so there's something like figs gone wrong to this. Yeah, like imagine taking some figs and they get into a really bad fight with some like oranges, different kinds of oranges, blood oranges, navel oranges, they're all in there. And then your figs like kind of really upset go and like dab their wounds with some like vanilla or something like that. So I don't know where I'm going with this. It smells a lot like figs, but not. And then there's some like orangey stuff going on. And then there's some vanilla happening as well. Also, a little bit of nectarine, a little bit of pear happening in this. It's very, very fruit driven. I'm becoming a mulberry maniac a little bit. So if any of you can point me to more mulberry brandy, please do so. Yeah, some fun herbs coming out on the nose too. A little bit of thyme, maybe some parsley. Fun on the palate. So on a technical level, I don't think this is good. This is as good as the Pheasant's Tears. It's all going well, like good mouth presence, and then like on the mid palate, it just falls away. Hold on, let me try this one more time. Maybe it's gonna like hold on better at the second sip. Mm-hmm. Oh man. It's like a bad lover or something. Like you get yourself all worked up and excited, and then it's just over. Like and all you're left with is. I mean, it was still fun, but you know what I mean, right? It's so. Yeah. Really, really good arrival. Very, like figs and like candied lemon, and a little bit of like orangey character too, like a little bit of like almost a Grand Marnier kind of thing. on the arrival. Feels nice in the mouth, and then like there's nothing going back into my throat. No, really kind of a not great mouth length, and the finish just kind of like goes Patrick Swayze on me. Like it just kind of disappears. There's a little bit of kind of tannic woodiness happening, holding on, but really nothing beyond that. The Pheasant's Tears was in oak for less time, and the finish is much, much, much more impressive. I mean, it's kind of got a deliciousness factor because I like mulberry. Let me try to spin out some more notes for you. Yeah, I mean, that kind of fig but not thing that mulberry does is very much in play here. It's got all the flavors I mentioned before. Apple cheese actually is showing up, which is always makes me happy. Apple cheese, a little bit of what is that? It's the tropical fruit that's not like guava. There's a little bit of guava on this, and just a hair hint of tamarind as well. But again, all of this is kind of like up front and kind of packaged together, and then it all kind of falls away pretty quickly. I'm going to hope that when I add water to this, it's going to kind of improve the weight of this a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, Armenia. Like, Georgia may beat you out on this one. All right, let's see. Add some water. 1 squirt. 2 squirts on this. I'm half an hour in and I haven't even tasted the Spanish brandy, which is the whole point of the tasting yet. All right, Thompson Brothers. All right, this is Thompson Brothers Early Landed, which is basically cognac, but they can't bottle as a cognac because it was aged and bottled, I think in Scotland, so outside of the cognac region. But it is, I should have written down the stats. I think it's like 26, 27 years old, 52.3%. And yeah, let's go. This is one of the more expensive things here, but we'll see how it goes. And we are in cognac territory, ladies and gentlemen. Golden raisins, regular raisins, caramel, a touch of flowers, overstewed tea, overstewed Irish breakfast tea. A lot of prunes, a lot of prune juice. I'd have to check again, but I would absolutely be kicking myself if this wasn't Grande Champagne, Petite Champagne, from one of the kind of big champagne central regions. It just has that profile. Yeah, very grapey, very caramelly. Tea. Little flower, a couple of flowers creeping out towards the sides. That's mostly it. There's like a little bit of a couple slices of maybe like some nectarine or something. A little bit of stone fruit on the side as well. But that's kind of most of what's going on. It smells like a very, very classic, Grande Champagne cognac. That's what it smells like. Okay, on the palate. And that is indeed also what it acts like. Yep. Very raisinette driven. Lots of different kinds of raisins. Golden raisins. Maybe some black currants in there as well. golden raisins, prunes, a little apricot actually. A lot of wood, tons and tons of wood. French Oak City. Yeah, so like that kind of like sucking on an old piece of French furniture kind of thing, that's going on here. Lots of fun woods and varnishes happening. And overstewed Irish breakfast tea. What's funny about this is the mouth length. I mean, for something that is kind of an old brandy, this really should be getting back there and making my throat kind of tingle a little bit. And it's really not happening. It's all kind of like concentrated up here, just past my molars. It's not bad. It's just kind of like a little bit off form for this kind of style. But in any case, it's a big, woody, cognac style brandy. A couple of flowers in there too. Hint of orange peel. Hint of like, I don't know, savory herbs, maybe a little sage. Just a little sage in there. That's kind of it. I like it, but you know, as crazy as it sounds, I think my favorite in the lineup so far might actually be the Chacha. We'll see how that pans out. I give this some water, at least 2 squirts, right? I can go a little bit more, not too much. Like a third of a squirt more. Okay, and we are finally at the Spanish brandy. So, what is this? This is a barrel pick. Bottled by W.V. Baker, which is a France-based independent bottler. And it's a pick from Rombo, which is a Danish online retailer. 60 bottles of this. There's not a whole lot out there. 15 years old. Bottled at a strength, that really amazing misspelling that France always does. 55%. Bottled 2023. 15 years old. And yeah, so I don't know the total story. They're not saying exactly where this was distilled. Other beyond the fact that it was Spain, and I guess it was aged for part of its life or its entire life in France. I don't know. It seems like a kind of a special case, maybe a cask of something or other ended up aging in the Cognac region. But yeah, I was super excited to try this Spanish brandy. And yeah, so there's not a lot of it out there, but I still want to highlight it because maybe this will give someone some reference if you find something else like this. Maybe the lesson is just don't be afraid of, assuming this is good, don't be afraid of independent bottlings of Spanish branding when you find them. I do hit the wax. It's just god awful wax. Encore une fois, s'il vous plaît, abandonnez la cire. Just stop with the wax, for God's sake. Let's see how this is. On the nose. Ooh. This is Okay, here's the question I'm posing to myself. I am not sure if I am smelling sherry cask, because it sure as hell smells like a sherry cask. It smells like a very, very rich, like, sherry cask. Imagine taking, like, I don't know, like an Aberlour or something, and just switching the malt whiskey underneath that, or a Glenfarclas or something, for a brandy. I think this is a pretty refined brandy. I would guess calm distilled, not aggressively, but more aggressively than like an Armagnac. So that's kind of what this smells like, but I don't know if there's actually a sherry cask underneath it. Because there's also elements in this that make me think, okay, maybe this is just like, French oak, European oak, good old Quercus robur. I don't. It really smells. I don't know. It really smells like maybe it could be just good old Spanish oak or French oak doing its best impression of a sherry cask. In any case, there's tons of dried fruit on this. It smells dark, dark, dark. Prunes, figs, raisins, like apricots that have been like rolled around in topsoil. Some like instant coffee powder, like Robusta powder. A little bit of like a Turkish delight kind of thing. A little bit of rose water, cinnamon, cardamom. It's just a little bit kind of grungy and dirty. It's not really like old furniture. It's not really like woody wood. It's more like, yeah, cellar that kind of got busted in and a whole bunch of dirt and mud just kind of slid in the side. That's a little bit what it smells like. It's fun. It's I do like this. And also, as I recall, this was reasonably priced. All right, on the palate. It feels like the distillate is pretty darn refined. We're not getting, I don't think we're getting to the 90s as far as like still strength, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was coming off in the 80s. It presents pretty darn sweet. When I look for actual like cloying syrupiness on the back end of this, on the finish, it isn't actually there. So I don't think this is dosed in any way. I think that's just the character of the distillate. It comes across as very sweet. What are we getting? We are getting tons of raisins. An entire bag of golden raisins and like maybe some like white currants, I think they're called. Yeah, white currants, all in your mouth. Yeah, there's a very just like pure, almost fruit syrup kind of thing happening up front. But then along the sides, you have this kind of like grungy thing happening, like dirt, like old kind of rotting wood, but nice. Like Robusta coffee, overstewed tea. God, it really does feel like a sherry cask, but I can't nail it down. Every time I feel like, okay, that's definitely a sherry note, I think, oh no, wait, maybe that's just normal oak. I don't know. I'm sorry. Prunes, figs, your normal kind of like sherry cask / European oak kind of characteristics. It's not. If it doesn't, what's giving me clues about the distillate is the mouth presence is not terrific. It's okay, but it behaves like reasonably well made calm distillate. So it's there, but it's not like, completely dominating my mouth. Mouth length is good. It's actually better than the Cognac or the Thompson Brothers. I'm sorry, the brandy. Mouth length is okay. The finish kind of holds on long. But again, if you are allergic to things that present sweet, you will probably not enjoy this. No, there isn't actually. I don't think there's any actual sugar in there. Just kind of like it presents sweet. Let's leave it at that. All right, I'm gonna add some water to this. We'll come back to it. It's 55%, so at least 3, right? At least 3 squirts. I'm gonna go 3.5. Yeah, now it really tastes like a sherry cask. I am super curious about what this actually is. And I will probably never know. Oh, and last up. This one I was really never going to get a sparring partner for it. This is a Fin de Bourgogne from Guillemot-Michel. This sample provided by the fine folks at PM Spirits. I did their Mar a while back. So this is a Burgundy-based producer, sort of. Oh man, I can't remember if it's the Macon or the Côte-Chalonnais, but kind of further south in Burgundy. Chardonnay-based stuff, and I think so. This a fin. What is a fin? Let's go over this one more time. A fin is a or fawn, I should say, is a grape must-based brandy distilled on its lees. So in other words, grape juice that's distilled on its lees. And you hear, isn't that just what we usually call brandy? Yes, exactly. Give yourself a star. But fun is a particular word you use when talking about brandy from these particularly like slightly out of the way distilling regions like Burgundy. Burgundy not really known for its great must-based brandy. But yeah, these folks have made it. I don't have the tech sheet in front of me. I think this is maybe 3 or 4 years old. Ooh. And it smells very, very, very fresh. I mean, so yeah, let's get it out of the way. This does not smell like an old Grande brandy, like the Thompson Brothers or anything. You're not getting a French oak overload on this. What I'm getting is tons and tons of orchard fruit. I'm getting apples of all sorts, green apples, cider apples. A little bit of like a gala apple thing as well. Quince jam, pear, apricot. Not dried apricot, this is fresh stuff. Very, very, very fruity, very forward with its fruity character. Unripe peach. There's a few like mixed berries in this. A little bit of blueberry, a little bit of blackberry. Oh, it smells like so beautifully like expressive and fruity and pretty, I think is the right word for this. It's a pretty nose. So yeah, fans of like old school like lowland malt whiskeys, come into the room. Like, you will love this. Fans of like old school. You remember back when you could buy like old Irish malts, especially the old Cooley stuff? Remember how much you enjoyed those? Come into the room. I think you will really be interested in this. Yeah, there's a little pineapple in this as well. The fruit parade is just it's just going right through my house right now, right through my living room, and I'm enjoying it. Right on the palate. 59.5% ABV. The mouth presence is showing that. Oh man. Can I complain about the mouth length on this? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it feels like a young spirit. It feels like it's maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, because it's really not getting past my molars. Everything's happening up front. Mind you, what is happening up front is absolutely stonkin' delicious. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Um, all the fruit, the apples, the pears, the quince, lemon peel, orange liqueurs like Grande Marnier again. All of that in my mouth, plus pineapple. There's a little bit of like mango happening, apricot again, nectarine again, some berries happening. There's a little bit of like a clove, almost a toothpaste thing, like not hippie toothpaste. There's no real like fennel in this, but there's like a what is that? It's like you know when you go to the dentist and they use that special toothpaste they use to like clean your teeth. There's a little bit of that going on. The clove thing is actually on point. It feels a little bit numbing, but in like but like it's like a fruity numbing. I don't know how to describe this. This is dang good stuff. I mean, it's PM Spirits, so it's not going to be cheap, but yeah, I'm a believer in this. The fruit is so pure and so beautiful. There's a little bit of herbaceousness happening too. There's a little bit of basil kind of floating around in there. Maybe a little bay leaf as well. But yeah, absolutely beautifully distilled stuff. I'm gonna add some water to this. 2, 3, 4. I'll risk like half a squirt more. 4.5. And let's go back over and start this again, shall we? All right, only 50 minutes in. All right, back to the CapRock. Now with a little bit of water. I do like this. This is just... When I see an American fruit brandy bottled at 40%, my immediate reaction is skepticism, because so many of them have disappointed me. This one isn't, though. Like, at least, especially on the nose. Like the peach and the kind of appley perry things in there. Little hints of oakiness. It's just so beautiful and approachable. And again, like if you were looking for something different to serve to normal people, at least in the nose, this would be a great choice. On the palate. So the complaints I had about the form before are still kind of there. It's still a little thin, brittle. Still feels a little bit like it's falling apart in my mouth. It gets a little bit bitter because it is thin. But the nose is so like just appealing, and the arrival on this at least is so, I mean, wonderful and delicious. And actually, the more I drink of this, the more it kind of hangs on, which, so maybe like the finish is not as doesn't have the shortcomings I'm speaking so much of. Yeah, the more you drink of this, the better it hangs on. Where did I score this? It's better than an 84. I'm going to give this an 85. I am shocked and appalled that I am scoring a 40% American fruit brandy that high, but yeah, this is an 85 Boiner. I like this a lot. It's very, very charismatic. There's some issues with the form that you're not going to cover up. They could easily push the score up a little bit by putting this at 42, 43%. But even how it is now, I mean, it's a delight to drink. I like that a lot. Well done, CapRock. Let's move on. All right, next up is the Brandy Peak. We are back to the formerly the second oldest distillery in Oregon. Oh, God. I love the nose on this. I just love that kind of like just nutty, cinnamon, spicy thing. The grapey character. Not a lot of development from what it was before, but I mean, did it need it? I was really digging the nose on this as it was. Oh, it's so pretty. It's just yeah. It's a very pretty nose on the palate. I don't know what kind of barrel this was. There's aspects of the oak on this that make me think European oak, but there's other aspects of this that make me think American oak. Interesting, tricky. Not a whole lot of development on this from where it was before. The mouthfeel might be, especially on the arrival, might be a hair bit more substantial, but otherwise pretty much the same. I mean, it's just it's very nice. There's not, if you kind of go looking for details on this, there's not a ton there, but it's also just an absolute pleasure to drink. There's enough substance here that it's not boring in any way. But to my shock, I might like the CapRock a little bit more. I like the CapRock a little bit more. Yeah. Not by much. It's a like I'll probably score this an 84 plus or something. Yeah, I think that's exactly where I'm going to land this. 84 plus. Again, I don't know if they watered this down or if the 40.1% was just where this ended up, but I mean, if this were just a little bit more assertive, like we could be heading into the stratosphere here. But yeah, for the moment, 84 plus. It does actually improve a little bit with like 2-3 drops of water. So if you have a bottle, bear that in mind. Moving on to their Mar. All right, this is the one I found. I found this just kind of confusing the first time through. I thought it was. It felt very old, but at the same time not very expressive. So we're going to come back to it. Okay, there's a little bit of like a stemmy green character coming out now. A little bit like I'm nosing like like just grape stems and a little bit of Brussels sprout in there. Oh, nope, wait, the pencil, the not pencil, the dry erase marker thing is coming back. Okay. Yeah, it smells nice. It smells very refined. There's some raisiness going on there, which is very pleasant. But it's just not a very talkative nose on the palate. Yeah, this one did not benefit from the water. Like it doesn't feel like it drowned or anything. It just kind of like didn't do it didn't do anything. It's just not. Certainly not bad, and it's approachable. Like normal people could drink this. But yeah, there's a little bit more pepper going on. The wood is coming out a little bit more. I'm not feeling this one. Like it's not particularly charismatic. It's approachable, but not charismatic. Does that make sense? Certainly not on the level of the previous two. I don't know. I'm gonna give this like 79 points, which is kind of a bummer. Because I want a champagne pomace brandy. I do. Some of the best spirits I've ever had are pomace brandies. But when something just doesn't show up, like it doesn't show up. All right, moving on. Back to the Pheasant Tears, Chacha. This one I was more impressed by on first run through. So let's see what happens on the palate, on the nose. It's still got that kind of like layered lemony thing, but like the Brandy Peak, this does get a little bit more green and a little bit more stemmy with the addition of water, and a little bit more peppery too. All this I'm okay with because it's a Mar. It should have character, right? Or not Mar, sorry, pomace brandy, Chacha. Not a ton of change. It's just a little bit greener. That's mainly what's happened on the palate. It's just a very delicious, classic, young pomace brandy. That's what this is. Oh wait, that's the Mulberry. I'm mixing up my glass a little bit here. It's been an hour of drinking spirits. I did not cover load before this, so I might be a wreck by the time we get to the end of this line. We'll see. It was nice before, that kind of like just layered lemony thing with little hints of tobacco teas kind of thrown in there. That's kind of still what it's doing now. It's very nice. It's an absolutely different character to the previous three because these three I could totally recommend to normal people. This one, absolutely not. That being said, I don't think it actually beats the CapRock. This is kind of the shock of the day so far. This is not beating the CapRock. Well, okay. Let me try this one more time. No. Okay. The mouth presence is better. It's a little bit better than it was neat. I'm going to give this an 85 plus. 85 plus. Yeah, the mouth presence, the finish in particular, is just a lot better. And a lot better than a lot of the French Mars, the French pomace brandies I've tried. And it's 2 years old. So yeah, well done, Georgia. Nice, good stuff. All right, moving back to my Mulberry brandy from Argay. So this one kind of fell off a cliff for me when I was trying it neat. I'm hoping water has improved that. Ooh. So I'm still getting like a figgy thing. Most like almost a fig jam kind of character, but there's also like there's something stinky here. But in like a good way. So like you're like smelling fig jam, you know, next door to the Millennium Park restroom area, but nice. That does not sound nice, but there's something barnyardy and stinky in here now, and I'm kind of digging it. It's a little bit like earthy too. There's a little bit of like I'm smelling like a pile of leaves and twigs and stuff. Oh, that's fun. Okay, on the palate. Same problem. It just doesn't hang around. Yeah, I mean, I'm all with it for the arrival up until the transition in the mid palate. The arrival is really, really pleasant. It's like, imagine taking some figs and smearing them in like, you know, like grungy poo and stuff. I'm sorry, I have to get this. Hold on. That was the cover for my daughter's tablet, so she doesn't break it immediately. Yeah, like grungy, twiggy, slightly poopy fig is what you're getting on this. But then it's just gone. Like I think it feels like I'm just catching this at an awkward age. And Arge, if you're listening to this, I would love to try like a 6-year-old version of this, an 8-year-old version of this. This feels like it's either I want it older or I want it unaged. Like this feels like I'm catching it like kind of in the ditch where, you know, the oak is taking more than it's giving. That being said, I'm still kind of enjoying it. I'm gonna give this like 80 or 84. I'm gonna call this an 84 out of 100. And kind of probably worth a grab if you see it. Moving on. Back to the early landing from Thompson Brothers. With the exception of the Guillemot-Michel, which is, again, it's PM Spirit, so it's going to be expensive. This is probably the priciest thing here, so it should show up. And yeah, it's reacting well to water. It likes the water. It is starting to show like brighter fruit notes, more aggressive floral character. Showing that kind of, pedigree of, I imagine this is from Grande Champagne. I haven't checked. But that's kind of the character I'm getting. Yeah, this is like, and this is why I add water to things, right? It's not because I'm a wimp. It's because I want to put these things under pressure. It's like Baron Harkonnen with Fade in Dune 2. Show me who you are. And this is showing me what it is. Now that I've given it a little pressure. Hell yeah. All right. I mean, it smells like a really good cognac. That's what I'm getting. Just a really good classic cognac. On the palate. Hell yeah. Ooh, there's a little bit of like a muddled mint thing happening on the finish there. It gets a little bit like cooling and herbaceous. That's fun. Yeah. Okay, so keeping my praise in check here. This is not by far the best cognac I've ever had, but as just a good, straightforward, clean example of that style, like a little bit of flowers, lots and lots of oak, like stewed tea, grapes, caramel, like chopped up furniture, wood, like all that stuff, just like sucking on tree bark. This is just it's a really good example. Yeah, I like this. Good mouth presence. Mouth feels good. Mouth length is still a little bit short for me, given how old I'm pretty sure this is. And but the finish is fantastic. I'm going to call this 87 or 88. 88 plus. 87 plus, I'm sorry. 87 plus. Right, let's move on. I am actually starting to run out of water here, so I'm getting a little bit worried. All right, back to this Baker Spanish brandy, aged apparently in France. Water seems to have actually dulled down the nose a little bit. I'm getting a lot of pepper. Quite a lot of pepper now. A little bit dried, kind of like generalized dried fruit. Almost like dried blackberry or something. And some floral character, but overall it seems to have actually withdrawn with water, which is not my favorite thing. Yeah, okay, on the palate. Nah. It's still fine. It's still drinkable. There was more going on without water. It hasn't gotten, like, not good or anything. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But a lot of the little details that were making this work before, the muddiness, like all that stuff, it's just kind of like gone away. And now it's just kind of like wood and pretty decent but not exceptional column distillate, and a little bit of like a fruity sweetness. And that's kind of it. Yeah, so if you got a bottle of this, if you were one of the other 59 lucky people, don't add water. It doesn't seem to like it very much. Still, without water, it's pretty dang good, actually. And whether it's sherry cask or not, it does a very good impression of like, hey, I'm a brandy in a sherry cask. So score-wise, I'm going to call this like an 86 minus. All right, let's go like 86 minus. And, wait, is that? So it's basically tying the pheasant's tears. You know, that's about right. That's about where those two fall, honestly. So nice to see that even though I'm getting a little bit sloshed, my scoring is actually staying kind of consistent. All right, and back to the Guillemot-Michel Fond de Bourgogne, which again is probably the most expensive thing here, but was also the kind of the best thing going into the second round. Oh man. So water has brought out an intense like lemon pith note. And I'm really digging it actually. There's also some more minerality here. There's just some like rocks and like stones and bits of metal happening. Yeah, just like if you were to imagine what a eau de vie of like white burgundy would smell like, this would be pretty close. Like it's just so austere and like metallic and lemony. Yeah. Uh, so you've lost a little bit, you've gained a little. It doesn't have the broad range of fruit that I was getting when this was neat, but I don't hate what it's become now. So let's see what happens on the palate. This is so just outrageously well made. It's I mean, yeah. Son of a gun. Yeah, it I mean, sour apple, cider apple, lemon peel, lemon pith, all the lemon, all the lemon, and also like all the rocks, flint, bits of metal. I mean, this is just gun to my head. I might have preferred it a little bit neat, but as like an eau de vie of white burgundy, like this nails it. This just absolutely nails that style. And oh, by the way, the mouthfeel, really the entire mouth presence has been improved with water. So, including the mouth length, which I was complaining about before. So I don't know. Do you add water to this? Do you not? I don't know. All I know is that it's very good. This is a very, very, very well made spirit. It still has that like little bit of a numbing clove thing on my tongue, but I'm into it. Oh, what do I score this? We're getting close to 90 on this. I don't think we're crossing 90, but I'm going to call this an 89 plus. Lots of pluses and minuses in this episode, but bear with me. All right, 89 plus for this. So yeah, that is the episode. What do we got? What is our conclusion? First of all, wax sucks. France, please stop. Second, the in kind of last place, although I still thought it was kind of okay, especially neat. The Brandy Peak Marc, 79 points. And then it was the, I don't know what came next. Oh yeah, the Mulberry Brandy from Argay. Just pretty darn good still. It just falls off in the finish. I would love to try an older version of this. 84 plus. Brandy Peak, regular old brandy. I actually, if this was around at a good price, I would grab a bottle of this. It's just something nice to pour for normal people, and there's an elegance to it that sorry, I don't think you should underestimate. Next up, right, it's the CapRock Peach Brandy. I thought this would be, DFL. I absolutely thought this would be DFL just based on the strength, and it's not. Like, it's just really, really well made. The cask works. Everything about this works. It is delightful, and I recommend it if you see it. And then, kind of filling out the rest of this, Pheasant's Tears Chacha, 85 plus. This is a darn good pomace brandy. The Spanish brandy, which I kind of built the episode around, 86 minus. Really pleasant. Do not add water to this, and also stay away if you do not like things that present sweet. And then kind of in the top of the range, we have got the Thompson Brothers Early Landed, 87 plus, and the Guillemot-Michel Fin de Bourgogne at 89 plus. Yeah, so interesting flight, fun flight. Thanks for watching, and cheers.